Okay, sorry about that. I had to turn my mic on. Welcome to episode 2 of the Ravens franchise. This is the off season. We simmed through the first season to get to this first off season. Today I'm going to be running through the entire off season, getting us up to the time where we're going to start preseason in year 2. Then I'll go ahead and get the rosters ready for the regular season, and we'll begin actually playing in week 1 of the regular season. So, first thing we got to do is sim through the Super Bowl. But before we get there, I went ahead and made the coaching change, installed myself as head coach. Poor John Harbaugh got the axe after leading this team to the AFC Championship in year 1. Tough break for him, but it was the plan all along. I also imported some franchise sliders. I'm playing on all Madden. Here are my gameplay sliders. As you see, I made it a little bit more difficult on myself with everything but run blocking. I found it very difficult to run the ball with the slider set to 50 on all Madden, so I bumped that up a little bit. Everything else I bumped down a little bit. Tackling I bumped up. CPU accuracy I bumped down because if you play the CPU on all Madden and don't bump down their accuracy, they just go nuts. But we're going to be simming um, defense anyway, so that's not really going to affect anything. I did move CPU interceptions down. I noticed if I leave that at 50, I'm probably going to throw 30, 35 picks in a season. So I'm bumping that down a little bit. I'm going to leave their coverage skills all the way up. They're still going to bat balls away. They're going to knock passes away. They just won't pick off everything they get their hands on. Field goal power up a little bit. Accuracy down a little bit. Punt accuracy way up. That's mostly for the computer. Injuries at 25. Fatigue at 60. Speed threshold, leave it at 50. I've adjusted the penalty sliders a bit. This is where we're going to start. I ran a Buccaneers franchise with these sliders, and it works pretty well. If we have to change anything, we can come back to it. I did change XP sliders and gave everything a slight bump. I'm 7 seasons into a Buccaneers CPU versus CPU franchise, and I have noticed that players do not progress. At least not like they should. Quarterback is probably the best for progression, but there were very, very few players at other positions that were above like an 83, 84 overall. That seemed to be about where players were capping out. So I'm going to bump that up a little bit so that star players actually reach the 90s. We'll see if it creates a situation where there's too many players in like the 80 overall range. But I'm trying to find a balance. We can adjust these as we go along as well. All right, we got to get to the off season. We got a lot to do, a lot to cover in this episode. So let's get started. We are going to advance past the Super Bowl, the Buffalo Bills, and the Carolina Panthers. I don't know how Carolina made it, but they shut out the Bills 24-0. The Carolina Panthers are your Super Bowl champions. Yeah, I don't know how that happened at all. Who won MVP? Frankie Louvu. Okay. You know what? If you say so. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So the Bills continue their streak of not winning Super Bowls when they get there. We got players to upgrade. It is players that were on our practice squad. I'm just going to auto upgrade those guys. I don't care about upgrading them manually. Staff week. Let's see. Do we lose anybody from our staff? That's the only thing I'm really concerned about. I've never actually done any of this. I don't care. If we have any openings, we'll fill them later. So let's go ahead and advance to the re-sign period, and we have some decisions to make. So I spent the bulk of episode 1 trying to figure out what to do with Lamar Jackson. And we are up against it now. He continued to progress. He's one of the best players in the entire league. 27-year-old quarterback. He is not going to re-sign with us. We are not going to let him walk in free agency. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Lamar with a franchise tag. I am going to play this first season with the expectation that we will re-sign Lamar. But I want to install an offense that has some read option concepts. It's going to be the base Buccaneers playbook, the base Tampa Bay playbook. But I'm also going to install some read option, maybe a little bit of um, other option plays in there, and see if I can take advantage a little bit of Lamar's running ability. If I can't, if it doesn't work, and all Lamar is it's just a drop back quarterback, I might consider trading Lamar and either drafting or trading for just a pocket quarterback who I can sign for a lot less money than Lamar's going to cost. Because what you're paying for with Lamar is not only his ability to throw, he's actually a pretty good passing quarterback, and in Madden he's actually very strong. What you're paying for is all the other things he does, the running ability, and if I'm not taking advantage of that, if that's just not going to be part of my offense, there's really no point in me paying Lamar all this money. So we're going to play out this first season, and we're really going to see what the offense looks like with Lamar. If it's clicking, if I'm enjoying the running aspects, the mobility from Lamar, then I'm going to lock him in because he is the guy. So we're going to go ahead and hit him with a franchise tag. 1 year, $31.9 million. That's a bargain, honestly. So Lamar is back. Marcus Peters, we're going to let walk. Ben Powers has been a tough one for me. He's been a tough one for me. I prefer agile, agile player archetype. He is pretty strongly pass protector, and how he leans power within that. So he's the complete opposite of my player archetype that I want at the position. I could re-sign him and work on those things, but he is already 27 years old. There's probably only a couple more seasons of progression there. He's just not going to get a whole lot different than the player that he is right now. So like okay, we need to look at our roster because I think I have other offensive line positions to fill, and I think I can only reasonably expect to fill maybe two in an off season, one through free agency, one through the draft. So I've got Stanley and I've got Makari. Makari can start in a pinch. Stanley is a superstar left tackle. Simpson is Powers' backup. Linderbaum is fantastic. Seitler at right guard maybe has a season left. And right tackle, Falele and Morgan Moses. Okay. I think I can afford to let Ben Powers walk, to be perfectly honest. I think I could find a suitable replacement. Even if I don't, I could switch Makari over to the left guard, and he'd be just fine there. So I am not going to lock up Ben Powers. We're going to let him walk. Justin Houston gone. Kyle Fuller. Maybe we'll look to bring him back in free agency on a 1 year deal. We'll see what's out there. Kenyon Drake, no thanks. Demarcus Robinson. I don't think I'm bringing anybody back, not in this range. Tyler Huntley, I am not paying that contract to be a backup. Yeah, that's going to be it. That's going to be it. So we can advance past this through to free agency, and I'm gonna walk you through. I'm gonna make some notes of what I actually need for this offseason. I like making notes. It makes it easier for me to manage free agency and the draft and know what I actually need. So our quarterback is Lamar Jackson. We need a QB2 scrambler or improviser. He needs to be a similar play style to Lamar. Halfback. I'm not. Let's see. I am not thrilled with this combo, but I don't feel like I need to add a starter. I think Dobbins is going to be the main. Edwards will get some carries in like goal line situations. So I'm going to be looking for halfback 3 and halfback 4. Fullback, we've got one of the best in the league in Patrick Ricard. Wide receiver is not a good position for us. Okay, so we're going to look for a top-end wide receiver. We are going to look for a wide receiver 3 or 4. And these guys down here can kind of fill out our roster, Prochet and Wallace. Tight end, we are very good. Isaiah Likely is a superstar. We've got Mark Andrews locked up, only 27 years old. We are very strong at tight end. Stanley Macari, so we need left guard and left guard 2. At center, we need a center 2. At right guard, we are good. At right tackle, we are good. If I'm able to get 2 starting caliber offensive linemen, I will probably trade Zietler. But right now, I'm going to leave him on this roster. He's going to be the starter. Madubuike at left end. So we're going to have to move some players around here because we have switched to a 4-3 defense. So Madubuike is going to stay at left end. Calais Campbell is going to slide inside and play defensive tackle. This is probably his last season, but he's still a pretty solid interior player. So that is a very good defensive tackle group with Pierce, Campbell, Washington, and Travis Jones down at the bottom of the depth chart. It's old, though. It's an old group, so we're going to have to look to add to this a little bit at some point. But right now, I'm comfortable with it. Odefe Owe, he had a strong season. Okay, he is a power rusher. We are going to move him to right outside linebacker, or I'm sorry, right end. Same with David Ojabo. Ooh, he's also a star. So we've got some pretty decent pass rushers. We've got some pretty decent pass rushers. I'm happy with that. All right, Roquan is going to stay at left outside linebacker. We're going to move Patrick Queen out to, or I'm sorry, Roquan is going to stay at middle linebacker. We're going to move Patrick Queen to left outside linebacker. We're going to move Malik Harrison to right outside linebacker. He's going to more than likely be our starter out there, unless we draft somebody. Okay. Tyus Bowser is also a pass rusher. I don't particularly care for. We may look to trade him. All right, let's see. Tyus Bowser. I mean, he's fine. So we're going to need a left end 2. We need one more defensive end. We are good at defensive tackle. We need a left outside linebacker 2. We need a middle linebacker 2 and 3, because that other middle linebacker we have on the roster is not going to make the team. Right outside linebacker, we'll put 1 or 2, whatever we find. I am comfortable with Malik Harrison starting out there. If we find something better, great. If not, I'm not worried about it. Cornerback. We need cornerback help bad. We need a cornerback 2. We need a cornerback 3, and we need a cornerback 4. At free safety, we have Marcus Williams. At strong safety, we have Chuck Clark and Kyle Hamilton. Oh boy. If I didn't already have a strong linebacker group, I would probably consider moving Kyle Hamilton to middle linebacker. He's big, but he can even play some corner. Okay, he's not. I think I'm going to move Kyle Hamilton to corner, and I think I'm going to have him play the slot. He is just a monstrous cornerback, though. But yeah, see, he's a pretty solid corner. I can move him back to strong safety after Chuck Clark is gone. So that takes care of one of our cornerback needs. That's going to take care of cornerback 3. We still need a cornerback 2 and a cornerback 4. We need a backup free safety. We need a backup strong safety because I do not want that guy seeing the field really under any circumstances. Kicker is fine. And punter, yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. All right. So we pick 29, 61, 71, 93, 125, 157, and 189. So if we find somebody in the draft we like, we're really going to have to move up aggressively. Let's go ahead and look at free agents now. Not a super strong free agent class. Let's see. Geno Smith, Geno Jones. We do need a backup quarterback. I don't know if I'm going to go after one strongly immediately. That might be something I wait on. Jeff Driscoll would even be an option if I wait. Easton Stick. Evan Singletary is available. Nothing jumps out at me there. Wide receiver. Michael Thomas. Juju Smith-Schuster. Jacoby Myers. Allen Lazard. Paris Campbell. I do like Paris Campbell. That's an option to come back to. I don't love any of these wide receivers, to be honest. That's okay, though. Irv Smith, I like Irv Smith, but we're good at tight end. Offensive line, there really is nothing at left tackle. Ben Powers is out there at left guard. Center is very light. Ethan Pocic. Right guard, Nate Davis is pretty solid. We could sign him and move him to left guard. And right tackle, there's a couple players that are pretty decent. Nothing jumps off the board. Like, I don't have to have any of those guys. We're good at defensive end. We're good at defensive tackle. We are good at outside linebacker. We are good at middle linebacker. What we really need is corner. Jamel Dean is available. Okay, so if we're gonna pay out a contract this offseason, I think Jamel Dean is the guy. Let's see, Murphy Bunting is out there. Dean is very clearly the best. Well, I think we give Jamel Dean a 4-year deal. Let's up the money a little bit. I'm willing to pay for him. Let's see where that puts us. Yeah, we got the best offer out on Jamel Dean. I feel pretty good about that. We do not need a safety. Well, we only need backup safeties. So we need a wide receiver think that's our biggest need other than corner. Smith-Schuster just is not really the style of player that I love playing with. I like fast receivers, and he is more of a possession guy. But I might be able to put that guy like in the slot and work with it. What's he asking for? He's asking for a lot of money. I just don't want to pay him that money. I think I can develop a receiver. I think I would be happier with Paris Campbell. Let's try giving Paris Campbell a fully non-guaranteed contract for 3 years. I wanted to come back and look at the offensive line guys. Nate Davis is still out there. I don't feel like that is a bad contract to offer Nate Davis. If I offer him that though, he is the starter. Boy. I might just go cheap this offseason because if I have to re-sign Lamar, I need to have the cap room to do that, so I don't want to spend too heavily. I might just sign all backups and see what we can do in the draft. Because I'm not blown away by any of these players other than Jamel Dean. So I might just work on filling out the roster at this point. Try to get a backup middle linebacker. Chris Barnes has an offer. Michael Walker. I like him. Let's try a 4-year non-guaranteed deal for him. Let's go back to corner and see if there's another corner I can try to snipe down here a little bit. Yeah, like Isaiah Oliver. Let's offer him a 3-year deal, not guaranteed, no bonus. And I can offer one more contract. Let's see if I can find a backup left guard. Cody Ford. Same deal, non-guaranteed. All right. So we got our targets. We signed Jamel Dean, so we got our corner. We are still in on Campbell, Oliver, Walker, and Ford. We can make one more offer here. I'd like to get a backup quarterback. Let's try to lock in Huntley before anybody gets to him. Let's try a 4-year deal. 0 guarantees. All right. Ooh, not good. Okay, we are out on Perry Campbell because we are not going to match that contract. And we are still ahead on Huntley. So we need to go back to wide receiver and middle linebacker. So wide receiver. Let's look at Isaiah Hodgins. He's not my favorite type of player, but he's just 24. We could potentially develop him. Middle linebacker. Let's see if we can find another guy in the Walker range. Jonas Griffith. Maybe down a little further. Here we go. Yeah, this is... I like Mac Wilson. This is the range we need to be shopping in. Okay. That'd be a good backup middle linebacker. Offers. And we are out on Tyler Huntley. But we have to advance anyway. So, free agent period 1, we only got one signing done. We got Jamel Dean. The rest are taking a little bit longer. We're trying to fill out the roster. Having to be a little bit frugal because we want to save money to re-sign Lamar next year if that's the route we end up going. Let's head back into free agency. We are not going to get the backup quarterback we wanted. Mitchell Trubisky is still out there. He has a little bit of running ability. If we're not able to draft somebody, it might be okay to have Mitchell Trubisky around for like 2 years until we can lock somebody in. So let's try Trubisky on a 2-year deal. We need some backup halfbacks. I do like Donta Foreman. I could bring back Justice Hill. Yeah, let's try Justice Hill. Justice Hill and Donta Foreman. Those would be our running backs. Wide receiver. We are behind on Hodgins, so we are out on Hodgins. Let's see, Traquan Smith, Rashid Shaheed, Scotty Miller has an offer out there, Ashton Doolin, Dortch. Oh my gosh, I do not like these wide receivers. Okay, this might be a position where if nothing jumps out to me in the draft, I might have to make a trade. I like Jalen Guyton. He has a good mix of size and skills. There's nobody in here that I look at and be like, that's a guy that I want on the field. So I think I've made the one offer. I don't think I'm going to make another offer. I think if I wind up needing another receiver after the draft, it's going to have to come via the trade. Because I don't like any of these options. I really don't. Bo Melton can run. All right, let's offer Bo Melton a deal. Okay. We have 8 offers. Let's see. I already got an offer to a left guard, right? Yes, I do. I need a backup center. Oh, he's already got an offer out. I wanted to, like, oh, but there isn't one out there. Yeah, Blythe is fine for backup center. I don't need any more linemen. I need a backup left end. Deshaun Hand. I like Deshaun Hand. Let's go 3 years on Deshaun Hand. And I am at my max offers. Okay, let's go ahead and advance. Hopefully some of these players sign. There's my targets. Oh shit, we are out on Isaiah Oliver. I probably should have looked at this first. So we are out on Isaiah Oliver, so I need to go back and look for another corner. A lot of corners must have signed. Fenton. Fenton is slow. This is a weak class. This really is. Mike Jackson Jr. Okay, let's sign Mike Jackson Jr. We're not getting a ton of great depth through free agency here. We're gonna have to build depth through the draft. Let's see. Did anybody sign Deshaun Hand? So there's our backup left end, and Bo Melton is wide receiver depth. We are out on Justice Hill, and that is it. So we need to go back to running back first and foremost. Let's see. Ronald Jones is interesting. Ty Johnson. I think we're going to go Ronald Jones. 3 years for Ronald Jones. Okay, so we got a left end. What else do we need here? Left outside linebacker. A lot of times your best bet on outside linebacker is to actually sign a middle linebacker and move them outside. So there's so many pass rushers mixed in. So that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go to middle linebacker. Try to find somebody young down here. Burke Curvin would be a good option, but he's already got an offer. Tanner Muse, I like a lot. Let's offer him a 4-year deal, no guarantees. And we need a third middle linebacker, so we'd be looking again in like the Tanner Muse territory down here. Tyrell Dodson looks pretty solid. Chaz Surratt. Let's go with Tyrell Dodson on a 4-year deal, no guarantees. All right. This is taking a little bit of time. This is taking actually more time than I thought it would. So we haven't had a lot of players signed. Okay, we got Rojo. He is going to be halfback number 4. We got Blythe, who's our backup center. Tanner Muse is going to be left outside linebacker 2. And Mitchell Trubisky is our QB2. Maybe you can share some secrets from the Steelers. Okay, we are out on Cody Ford. I thought that might happen. Hard. And we need to shop a little bit lower. Ooh, that might be too low. Although I do like Michael Jordan. Let's offer 5 years to Michael Jordan, and we'll try to develop him. Okay, we need a right outside linebacker. Zach Bond? Okay. Kaliki Hudson. Davion Taylor. I actually like these outside linebackers. Hampton Nasr-Ladine. I'm going to sign him. We're going to give him a 6-year deal to be a right outside linebacker. I could use a 4th corner still. I thought, yeah, okay. I've got one that I'm working on signing. I still need backup safeties, and it is slim pickings. Miles Hartfield has a contract offer out. Stephen Parker. Who's this guy? Veron McKinley III. He is slow. Ugh. Okay. We need to come up a little bit and just get somebody who's a little bit older. Monte Nicholson will be fine. Let's try 3 years. Strong safety. Josh Metellus. Nobody has offered him a contract. I would be really pleased with that. He's somebody that I can develop as well. I don't think there's anything else that we need. I could use one more offensive lineman, maybe, just in case I don't draft anybody. Greg Little, maybe. I don't know. The options are very, very weak at this point. Very weak. Let's try Schweitzer. Be a pretty quality backup. All right. Hopefully, I can just run with this group. Most of these guys will sign. And we lost Schweitzer. Everybody else seems to be on board. Dean. Oh, shit. We got Metellus. That's a good signing. We got Guyton. Blythe, Melton. So Guyton. Okay. All right. Well, it hasn't been a spectacular free agency period, but we've done okay. We've got some players that I think could be solid backups for a little bit. We got Jamel Dean at corner, which was our weakest position. Oh God, I'm getting a lot of text messages. Okay. Patrick Queen, 5th-year option at outside linebacker. I'm not going to pick up his 5th-year option. And I'm going to look to sign him to an extension. If I can't, that's fine. I don't feel like I need strong outside linebackers. I need a strong middle linebacker. Let's go back to free agents. Let's try to wrap this up. This is what we have left. Okay, so we got Donta Foreman. We got Mike Jackson, who's our cornerback 4. Guyton Blythe. We got Mac Wilson, who's our backup middle linebacker. We got Nicholson, our backup safety. Hamson Nasruddin. And Tyrell Dodson. Okay. So we are light on offensive line and a little bit light on receiver still. Alright, I'm assuming Michael Jordan signed. Yes, he did. Okay. So we got our backup left guard. So going into this draft, I need wide receiver, I need offensive line, and I potentially need corner. If a corner jumps off the board at me, that's going to be what I'm looking for. If a wide receiver jumps off the board, that's what I'm going to be looking for. Offensive line, I'll look a little bit down the board, but that's basically wraps up free agency for us. I'm going to go ahead and start to put together my draft board. It's simulating mock draft 5. I've heard that mock draft 5 actually turns out to be fairly accurate. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to screenshot some of these picks so I know about where I need to get up to move to get people. So there's your top 5. 6 through 10. 11 through 15. 16 through 21. It doesn't really fit all that well. They have me taking Easton Rivers, a right guard out of Auburn. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll take a look. Okay, so before we get to the draft, I am going to scout college players. I'm going to look at the prospects, and I am going to put together my draft board. And we're going to start at the quarterback position. I don't need a quarterback. If there's anybody that jumps off the board, down the board a little bit, that's where I'm going to be interested. Even around 1 to 2, that's too early for me. I've got other positions to fill. There is not a good scrambler late in the draft. There's a scrambler's a UDFA who does not look particularly good. Yeah, I think looking at this, it's a good thing that I went ahead and signed Trubisky. I think he's going to have to be the backup, at least for now. Halfbacks. Mike Thurman. Mike Sturman looks like a pretty good player. It's not a huge need for me. Receiving back, Connor Lacey. Not a great carry, not great back, the ball carrier vision. He's got good speed, he's got good agility. He's just not my type of player. The same thing with Gray. I like power backs. So let's take a look at Jeremy Stevenson. Decent speed, great strength. He's not athletic enough. What I'm looking for is power backs who have good speed, pretty good agility. Those are the guys that are going to jump off the board to me. Isaiah Cummings. Yeah, nothing there looks really spectacular. More receiving backs. An elusive back on day 3 down here looks interesting. Very fast. Not a great athlete. More elusive backs, receiving backs. So this is just not a power back draft. There's a power back who's a UDFA. There's a couple of them. But like I'm not gonna draft anybody down here. Like that would be a guy that I would have been moderately interested. The solid speed scares me off. Like I don't want a slow running back. I want a power running back who has maybe 90-ish speed. So there isn't, other than Mike Sherman who looks pretty good. There's not a running back in this class that I'm super interested in. Fullback I don't care about. I'm good. Wide receiver DeAndre Perriman looks decent. He's not super fast, but he has good speed. He's just a good athlete, not great. His skills don't look great. This is another guy, the skills just don't look great. He's got good hands. Is he a skilled athlete? Not really. Hurst has some decent skills. Let's see if he's a good athlete. Solid speed. He doesn't run super well. Enrique Blaylock. I like the skills. The deep route running isn't great, but that's okay. We can develop that if we need to. Just a marginal athlete again. Great, good. Yeah, I don't love that. Deep threat, Steven Sawyer. He's got pretty good skills for a deep route runner. Great speed. Not strong. Doesn't jump well, but he moves fantastic. His agility is great. This is a player that I'm interested in. This is a player that I'm interested in. Okay, let's move down to Jamel Baskerville. I really like the skills. Let's see. Let's see what kind of athlete he is. He is slow. That's just not going to cut it for me. The skills for Carlos Gray look really strong. Let's see what kind of athlete he is. Okay, I like this player. It says he has solid speed, but the 40 time is really good, especially at the pro day. And he is strong. He doesn't. His agility is just okay. Acceleration isn't great. I like this guy. We're going to go ahead and highlight him. He's a player to look at down in the draft. I think he's going to be better than Julian Hurst for sure. Yeah, Julian Hurst is just not a great athlete. Physical wide receiver Morgan Bennett looks to have some skills. The hands are questionable. And so is the speed, so is the athleticism. He's strong. He looks more like a tight end, to be honest. Markel Weber, catching traffic. He doesn't release well. This guy looks like he's got decent skills for late in the draft, but again, not a good athlete. Not a good athlete. Deep threat wide receiver looks okay for his skills. He is the fastest guy in the draft. It says he has good agility and great acceleration. That didn't show up so much at the combine, but the speed is unquestionable. So we're going to highlight him. He's not a guy that I really, really want, but if we're down the board and we're looking for a wide receiver to develop who's just got phenomenal speed, that might be it. Kalsheem Wallace has really strong looking skills as a physical receiver. Decent speed. Like he's not a great athlete. Those are okay skills for a deep threat. This guy runs pretty well. He's got the agility. Jalen Ferguson. Okay, we're going to highlight him for as a day 3 receiver. Alfonso Avery looks like he's got pretty good skills for a physical receiver. Let's see if the athleticism is there. It's really not. It's really not. Another deep threat. Pretty good. Skills. Yeah, this is just another straight speed guy. Another speed guy. The catching is questionable. Another physical wide receiver down here at the end. Let's see if he's an athlete at all. The speed is okay. He doesn't move side to side well. It's just not somebody I'm super interested in. Tight end is usually a place where you can find value in the draft, but I am loaded at tight end. I don't even know if I want to put any of these guys on my board. I already have a problem where I have too many tight ends. Jose Lopez looks excellent. Solid, good. He's an okay athlete, but the skills have the potential to be out of this world. I'm definitely not drafting a guy in the first round. So if I draft somebody who's going to be down the board a bit, maybe Alonzo Brown. He did not participate. Interesting. Okay. This guy looks pretty good. Gordon Collins. Let's see what he looks like as an athlete. Very good athlete. Decent strength, great speed, decent jumping, solid change of direction, great agility, solid acceleration. Okay, we're going to go ahead and tag him. He's a guy that I'm potentially interested in way down the board. Like, so far, I am not blown away by this draft. That does not look like a round 1 offensive lineman. That guy is a maybe. Super strong. Although it just has great strength. It doesn't say elite. Okay, Jeffrey Lucier. Good skills. Let's see. Combine. He looks to be a good athlete, although he doesn't run well. He's got great acceleration, great agility. Yeah, this is a guy. This is a guy. I don't know if I'm going to spend a first round pick for him, but I want to keep an eye on him. Let's look down the board a bit. I don't know if I want a power guy on day 3 of the draft. Ooh, he does not move well. Yeah, that's going to be it for left tackle. Left guard. Yeah, no, I'm not crazy about that pass blocking for Charles Barnett. Let's see what kind of athlete he is. Yeah, he's a pretty good athlete. We might look at him. He, I don't know if he'd be a starter, but he's definitely a backup material. The fact that he's a C run block and agile blockers are usually better run blockers leads me to believe that he's probably more towards D pass block than B. So I don't know how good of a player he's going to be. Um, Gordon Gore is an. We know he is an A impact blocker. We know he's a C pass blocker. On the low end of pass blocking, I think we can infer that Gore's run blocking is probably on the high end of that B to D range because he's already a C pass blocker. They tend agile blockers tend to be better run blockers. So this guy interests me. Let's see. Just a marginal athlete. Not doesn't do anything great, but he is a round 3 to 4 talent. This is another guy that I look at and say like I think he's a backup. Um, Ian Carmichael is a power guy. Doesn't do anything super well as far as the combine. His skills seem to be okay. Doesn't have great awareness. So the left side of the offensive line looks a little bit weak so far. Jamie Dodge. We know at worst he's a. Oh wow! Look at that. He tore up the combine. Okay, we're gonna put a heart on him. The skills don't jump off the board to me, although he does have A awareness, A impact block. Pass block at a minimum is going to be a D, and run block at the minimum is going to be a C. I think is probably going to be in the middle. It'll probably be B, C. Um, Sam Tiller isn't super interesting to me. Yeah, none of the rest of these guys are super interesting to me. Jamie Dodge is the guy to get there. Easton Rivers is the player that they had me taking in the draft. I don't like him. He's just not. Although he moved well for a big guy. Good change of direction. The skills are okay. I generally don't draft linemen that high. They're usually like round 2 to 4 for me, and I usually find some pretty good value down there. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Mitch Anderson. The skills interest me. He ran a great 40 time. He surprisingly didn't bench great, except for his pro day was pretty good. Solid strength, poor jumping, not a great athlete. Let's see, Johnny Wakefield, his average skills, okay at the combine. Again, like this guy looks like a potential backup, so we'll go ahead and heart him. I'm not seeing anybody so far that I look at and be like, that's a guy that I can plug in and play day 1. Jeremy Cunningham, I like this. Okay, he had a really strong combine. This is the guy. This is the guy for me that is going to be a plug and play left guard if I draft him in, say, round two. A to C awareness, A impact blocking, B pass block, C run block. I'm going to develop run block faster than I will pass block, so I like to see that he's a better pass blocker than run blocker right now. I like to see that. We look down the board a bit. Nothing really jumping out to me. Yeah, I'm not really interested in any of this. That's my guy right there. Jeremy Cunningham is the guy. Top 5 speed rusher. He's not super balanced, but the speed rushing moves look great, and he moves super well. There's a power rusher. He moves pretty well for a power rusher. That guy's interesting. Eric Shelby. Kai Whitlock is a run stopper. He would probably play defensive tackle for me if I drafted him. Lloyd Ratliff, kind of same boat. Probably too big to play defensive end for me. Let's see, down the board a little bit. Brandon McCullers has some pretty decent moves. He's a pretty good athlete. Day 3, I think that's a guy to look at as speed rusher. Not blown away by the defensive ends. Power rusher. It looks like he's got good power moves. Not very good block shedding. I don't love to see that from a guy who could go round 1. He's a good athlete, though. It's just not a position in need. So unless somebody really jumped out to me, I would not be in on any of these guys. Corey Noel doesn't move well, but he's super strong. He could potentially be a defensive end. Good power moves. Block shedding is not that great though to move to defensive tackle. I'm not in love with that player. I'm not in love with anything I'm seeing here. This draft so far looks pretty disappointing, if I'm being honest. It looks like a quarterback draft. There were a lot of quarterbacks up there. I'm not seeing anything super strong the rest of the way. Clay Trailer. Yeah, I mean, he looks all right. Again, this is a position of strength. So if I draft somebody at this position, it's going to have to be somebody that just jumps off the board to me. This is really strong. Wayne Stevenson looks like he's got pretty good skills, and he crushed the combine. Really good in everything. He was fast, he was strong, he was agile. This is a guy I'm going to target. Right now, I think the move might be. Sorry, I got to take a drink. The move might be trading down, honestly. Unless I find a defensive back that I really like, I might be trading down in this draft and drafting a couple guys in the second round. This looks like a good speed rusher. Yeah, I like this guy too. There's a couple defensive tackles I like in the second round. Run stopper, round 3, 4. For a run stopper, he moved really well. Okay, we're going to highlight him. I don't see anything else jumping off the board at me. Left outside linebacker, speed rusher. Again, he would have to move to defensive end in my system, and I'm not taking a guy that high. I'm not taking that guy that high. Run stopper, round 1 to 2. I like some of the skills here. See if he's a good athlete. He's a very good athlete. Jeremiah Medlock. Okay. We're going to highlight him. A pass coverage. Pass coverage linebacker. He's not great at the combine. Yeah, I'm not blown away by any of the rest of these guys. Let's go to middle linebacker. Yeah, again, like those are marginal skills. It is just not jumping off the board. He had a good combine. I like the other linebacker that I scouted, Josh Watkins. Again, just mediocre skills. Pretty good at the combine. Yeah, I'm not in on him. I like DeJuan Weatherspoon. Let's see if he's a good athlete. Good speed. No, nothing jumping out at me so far. Let's take a look at Matthias Samuel. No, not a good enough athlete. Andrew Wilbon. Okay, this is my type of player. Good strength, elite speed, great jumping, good change of direction, great agility, good acceleration. Had a really strong combine. His block shedding is low, but I think we might be able to work on that a little bit. I'm in on him in around 3 or 4. He's a good guy down the board a little bit to keep an eye on. Pass coverage, Justin Streets. Same thing here. Good strength, elite speed, elite jumping, good change of direction, good agility, good acceleration on day 3. He's got C block shedding, B tackling. Like, this is a guy. That's a guy for me. He's on my board. Eric Burton, the speed rusher. The skills actually look pretty interesting. Yeah. His combine numbers don't really jump out at me. Looks like a pretty decent player, but again, that's a position of strength. I don't really need to take somebody that high at that position. I've got other needs. I'll trade down if I need to. Let's see, a run stopper around 2 to 3. Kyrie Dawson. He doesn't jump well, but he's fast. He's a player to keep an eye on. I'm going to highlight him. I like other players. I like those middle linebackers better, but I'll keep an eye on him. It's worth adding him to the board. There's a speed rusher down the board a little bit. Arthur Byers. Let's take a look at him. Ooh, good speed. He is not strong, though. He's not going to... He's definitely an outside linebacker or a rush outside linebacker. I don't really want him playing defensive end with that speed. He'll get pushed around. Max Whiting, outside linebacker, he's too slow. This guy has good skills. Let's see if he's got the athleticism to match. Decent strength, great speed, solid jumping, great change of direction, solid agility, elite acceleration. Day 3, let's highlight him. If I've got a late pick, it might be worth a flyer. He could, at the very least, be a special teams guy. Cornerback. Man-to-man corner whose man coverage is C to F. No, I'm not even going to look at that player. This is not worth it. Zone coverage guy. Looks like he's got good skills. C man coverage, B to D zone. That interests me a little bit. But he's not fast. Okay, here we go. Round 1 to 2. We got a B man coverage, B to D zone. Pretty good press. Is he a good athlete? Yes. Although the ratings say he's got solid strength, just good speed, good jumping, elite change of direction, good agility, great acceleration. I'm interested. I'm interested in Von Owens. I'm not interested in Cordell Curry. Well, maybe a little bit. If he's a good athlete. Ooh, and he is. He is. Okay, he's on the board. I don't want a guy with D-man coverage. Yeah, I don't really like any of this. Um, yeah, corner is one of those positions that I think for the most part you need to draft high. Jeremiah Duvall looks somewhat interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Pat Conley. He's got good size and decent skills. Courtney Sims. Ooh, he's a terrible athlete. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for corner. Let's look at safety. I don't often draft safety unless there's a guy that I think I can move to corner. And here we go. We got a guy around 1 to 2. Ooh. Solid strength, great speed, decent acceleration. Agility and the acceleration and the change of direction is a little bit concerning. Everything else I look at here, C zone coverage, A to C man coverage, and I see a guy that could potentially play corner. I'm going to put him on my board, but he's not a guy that I have to have. And that's really how I felt about this entire draft at this point. Is I'm adding players to my board, but none of these players are guys that like I've got to have this guy. I think the closest thing is that offensive lineman. I think he's a right tackle, and he's like round 2 to 3. Ooh, look at this. B to D man coverage isn't great. Is he a good athlete? Yes. Good strength, great speed, solid, great, decent. He's a better athlete than the other safety. 220. Let's take a look at Bernie Edwards. Bernie Edwards. He's not as fast, but wow, does he move well. He's round 1 to 2. Strong, a run support strong safety who looks like he's got good athleticism. So there's some good safeties in this draft. I like this guy too. Is he a good athlete? Yeah, pretty good. I don't love solid speed, but the 40 time shows that he might be a little bit better than that. Yeah, kicker and punter. So I don't know. I'm gonna put these in order and talk while I'm doing that. I am not blown away by anything in this draft. I really am not. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the weaker drafts that I've seen over the years. There might be some guys that play better than I expected or show a little bit better than I expected. It might be decent depth to this draft, but there's nobody that jumps off the board and be like, this guy is the guy that I need to go get. Just a little bit disappointed. It's fun having one of those guys in the draft, and it's not there. It's not there in this draft. So we're basically going to be looking for value out of this draft. And if we can't find it, it's going to be a position where we trade out of these picks. We either trade down and try to find value later, or we trade into next year and hope that next year is maybe a draft with some better high end talent. Because there's a lot of guys here that I think are interesting, But they've all got things that I go, ooh, I'm not sure about that. They've all got question marks. So I think what I'll probably do when I get into the draft is I'm just going to sim to my pick, my first round pick at the end of the first round. I'll take a look at what's still there. And if I can't decide, if none of these guys with a round 1 to 2 grades are there, and there's nothing jumping out to me like this is the guy I'm clearly going to take. I'm just going to trade down and just try to get extra picks in this range because I think that's where the value of this draft is. I think I can get some players that I could potentially either plug and play as starters or develop into starters. There's just nobody that's jumping off the board to me like that is going to be a superstar player for me. So we got our board put together. Let's go ahead and jump into this draft. What time we got? It is 5 o'clock. All right, start draft. We are going to pause and we are going to skip ahead to next user pick. Peyton Alexander, quarterback out of Tulsa, went right before us. Okay, let's see who on our board is still available. There are still some round 1 players, including Jeffrey Lucier. Sorry, I got a text message. Okay, let's take a look here. So there are a few players that I'm interested in. Jeffrey Lucier, I think, is a very solid hidden dev offensive lineman. I think he is a safe pick. I think Jeremiah Medlock is a really good outside linebacker. I think he is a pretty safe pick here. Steven Sawyer. I don't know about Steven Sawyer. I really don't. Steven Sawyer, the skills are just okay. But he has really good combine stats. I kind of want him. I don't know if I want him more than the tackle. The corner, I'm not crazy about. Same with the safeties. I think those are guys would be good players, but none of them are jumping off the board as like this is a guy I gotta have. Carlos Gray, I'm not taking in this round, but again, I think he's an okay guy. This was the other tackle that I really wanted. I think Lucier is a better player than Cunningham. I think he is. I think they're similar. I think they're both going to be really good players. I might just wind up drafting two really good offensive linemen in this draft. So I'm gonna go with Lucier in this pick. There you go. Hidden dev, offensive lineman. He is a left tackle. I'm probably gonna move him to guard. But that fills that position. That was a position of need. Our next pick is round 2, pick 29. I might move up. Okay, so we are in round 2. Daniel Hurst just went. I'm going to look at my board. Okay, I don't need Jeremiah Medlock. That is not a position I need. I do need a wide receiver, and I need a wide receiver bad. And I think Stephen Sawyer is the best one available. Now, The question is, what position do I have to get into to get him? Because I want to leave myself a pick to be able to get Jeffrey Cunningham. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean there's just not a lot here that Justin Street is probably a guy later in the draft that I'm gonna look to take. Yeah. I mean the guy, yeah. The guy that I really want at this point is Steven Sawyer. So there goes Medlock. What would it take for me to get the Texans pick here? I want to hold on to that pick. So if I trade, what if I trade 2 3s and a 4? How close does that get me to the Texans pick? Ooh, very close. Okay. What I might have to do is instead of trading to the Texans pick, trade as close as I can and just wait this bit maybe out and hope that he makes it to me. Let's try the Buccaneers pick at 37. Okay, what I can also do, let's try trading to like 40 and then trade up again from 40 using some later picks that I have. I do not want to miss out on this player. Yeah, but it's going to have to be at least pick 40. Let's try pick 43 with the Eagles. Done deal. Okay. Now, I am going to trade pick 43, pick 157, and pick 159 to move up to the Texans pick. I don't know if they'll take this. We'll see how close we can get. Done deal. There we go. So I am on the clock. I traded away all my late picks, but I'm going to get the wide receiver I want. I am not super worried about dev trait here. Pulling a dev trait on Stephen Sawyer would be good, but if I throw to this receiver a lot, he's going to develop naturally anyway. So I'm not super worried about that. No dev trait, 95 speed, 96 change direction, 95 agility, 96 acceleration. So he is very, very fast. We're gonna have to work on catching and route running. He's already got B release. He's a good deep route runner. I think this is a good player. This is a good player despite not having a dev trait. Okay. Next pick is at 29 of the second round. Now the question begins. How comfortable do I feel that Jeremy Cunningham is still going to be there at that pick? I mean, there's quite a few players that I'm comfortable taking there. And I don't really want to move up. Or I'm just going to send him the pick and hope he's there. All right. Please be there. He is not there. Ah, shit. Okay. Man, that sucks. That really sucks. All right. I like Nolan Stewart. He's not as good. He's not. He doesn't move as well as the receiver I took earlier, but he's probably even faster. Charles Barnett, not a great run blocker, potentially not a great pass blocker. BJ Langford does a lot of things well. I just don't need a defensive tackle. I mean, I have two older players at defensive tackle. I'm going to need a defensive tackle. I just don't need one right now. Oh boy. Okay, I'm taking Langford. At worst, I can develop him. He is hidden dev. Okay, so I might even look. I want to get him on the field, depending on what his overall is. So I might even look to trade Calais Campbell. Next pick is number 7 in the third round, and it is the last pick that I have in this draft. I'm fine with because this is not a great draft. Um, Again, I'm looking at Nolan Stewart. I need wide receivers. He's super fast. He's a good deep route runner. Release is a C, so it's at least manageable. Short route running D is going to have to improve. Catching C to F. I mean, there's skills there to like, but there's also question marks. Andrew Wilbon, I think he's a really good athlete at middle linebacker. The skills are potentially lagging a bit. Let's look at Jalen Ferguson. He's another elite speed guy. Short route running, again, not there. Medium route running is not there. The catching is probably a little bit better. Jabari Manning. Elite speed with him. F short route running. C deep route running. So he's a fast guy. He doesn't run routes. I did really like Justin Streets. I'm not gonna take him here, but I might trade back up to get Justin Streets. Oh boy, I this is another situation where I might take the receiver and develop him. He's the fastest receiver in the draft. Speed is not something you can really develop, so I think I got to go this route. Trade back up, get that middle linebacker. Let's go with Nolan Stewart, 97 speed. So I got two normal dev wide receivers. I want to trade either into round 4 or the back end. Let's trade my 4th rounder next year. What pick was it? 106, 110. The Bears are almost take that. I will add a 7th round pick. It might have to be a 6. Nope, 7th round pick got it done. Okay. So I've got the 10th pick in round 4. Hopefully Streets is still there. Oh, I thought that was Streets for a second that just got picked. Dobbs. Okay. Favorites, Gore, Wakefield, Justin Street's still there. He's my guy. Middle linebacker. Incredible athlete. Incredible athlete. And he is a normal dev. So I did not pop many devs. But he's 90 speed, 88 acceleration, 83 agility, 76 change of direction, 76 strength, C block shedding, A to C pursuit, D play recognition isn't great, B man coverage, A to C zone, B tackle. I mean, he's just a good player. Oh, boy, it wasn't a great draft. It really wasn't. At least I didn't exhaust a ton of trade capital in this draft. So, it is what it is. I got some players that I think I'll be able to develop. Let's take a look at the draft recap and see how we did. Jeffrey Lucier is a 72, which is a little bit lower than I expected. But we can make that work. Stephen Sawyer is a 76. So he has a better overall than I expected. He's actually a pretty good looking player. I think I'm going to end up using him a lot and develop him. He's going to have the dev. BJ Langford is a 71 overall, but he does have the dev trait. I don't know if I'm going to start him right away. He might have to develop a little bit behind Calais Campbell. Nolan Stewart in round 3 he's okay. He might see the field a bit for me just because he's got game-breaking speed, but we got to develop that route running. And Justin Streets did not have a dev trait, but in round 4, a 73 overall middle linebacker. That's a good player. We're going to have to develop block shedding, play recognition, but the athleticism is absolutely there. That's a guy who's going to be, at worst, a backup middle linebacker for several years. He might even slide out to outside linebacker and start over Malik Harrison at some point. I'm very happy with that pick in the 4th round. So it was an okay draft. We didn't crush it, but we did all right. This gets us to the preseason. Let's take a look at our roster, see if we have any positions we need to fill. We got Mitch Trubisky as our backup to Lamar Jackson. 4 running backs, Dobbins, Edwards, Donta Foreman, and Ronald Jones. Fullback is Patrick Ricard. Wide receivers, Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, Stephen Sawyer, Jalen Guyton, James Prochet, Tylan Wallace, and Nolan Stewart. Bo Melton. Let's see. Jalen Guyton might be the odd man out. Or Tylan Wallace. If I trade those guys, though, I'm not going to get a lot of value back. But they can't all make the team, though. That's the problem. Prochet would probably be the guy I'd prefer to draft, but I take a very, very minor penalty with him. Or it would be the guy that I'd probably prefer to trade. I'm not going to re-sign him. Let's see if there's any interest out there from the league. The Bengals have a little bit. Let's see if I get like a mid-round pick for Prochet. Any sort of draft capital is useful because I can move it to, or I can use it to potentially move up in the draft. I'm not going to pick in round 5. Yeah, I'll offer Prochet in a 7th for a round 5 pick. That's good for me. Okay, so there's a wide receiver group. Tight ends, very good there. Lucier is going to slide inside the left guard. That's where he's going to start. Let's see, Lucier, left guard. Makari, left tackle. Jordan, Linderbaum, Zeitler, and Morgan Moses. Okay, I'm happy with the offensive line. I'm happy with the defensive line. Defensive tackles. I've got extra defensive tackles. So, the money-saving move would be trading Calais Campbell if I'm going to start Langford. That would develop Langford quicker, but I also Calais Campbell's also a mentor at the position, so he's going to help Langford develop no matter what. So the best move might honestly be to trade Broderick Washington. His contract's going to be up at the end of the season. Probably not a guy I'm going to bring back. Let's make that trade. Let's trade Broderick Washington and see if I can get a mid-round pick for him. See if there's any interest around the league. There may not be. Okay, the Browns. Let's try a third-round pick for Broderick Washington. Done deal. That works for me. Left outside linebacker, Patrick Queen. I got a slew of middle linebackers. We're good at right outside linebackers. So one of these guys is going to have to shift outside. Boy, I think I'm going to put Justin Streets at right outside linebacker, and we're going to let him start. I'm comfortable with that. Streets is going to start over Malik Harrison. Malik Harrison is going to move back inside, and he's going to be my backup middle linebacker. So one of these guys, probably Muse, because he's the better athlete, is going to slide out to left outside linebacker. And one of these guys I'm probably going to trade. So I can only carry 3 backup middle linebackers, and I got 4 quality ones right now. Honestly, Malik Harrison might be the guy to trade. This is the same situation with the other guys I've traded. He's in year 3. His contract's going to be up at the end of the season. He's going to want some money that I'm not going to pay. I've already got Mack Wilson Jr. locked up on a cheap contract for a few years. I've got Dodson on a cheap contract for a few years. Malik Harrison is the odd man out here. So let's see if there is a middle linebacker needy team that will again feed me a mid-round pick for Malik Harrison. It's not looking good so far. I'm surprised by that. Malik Harrison's a pretty good middle linebacker. Okay, the 49ers. They pick late in the second round. How close does that get me? Not close. Okay, this is probably going to be a third or fourth round pick. Probably a fourth round pick. Yeah. Very, very light interest in Malik Harrison. It's going to have to be a fifth. If they don't give me a fifth, I'm just going to keep Malik. Yeah, okay. Right outside linebacker, Streets is now starting. I've got Marlon Humphrey, Jamel Dean, Kyle Hamilton, who's going to play slot, Mike Jackson, and Brandon Stevens. These guys are going to be on the practice squad. I don't love that cornerback group, to be honest. I don't love it. 1 through 3 is really solid. 4, 5 is just okay. I'm not excited about that. Free safety, very good. Strong safety. I like Chuck Clark for another year or 2. Metellus is actually a really good backup. I was surprised I was able to sign him as cheaply as I did. Draft picks going into next year, we have a 1, a 2, a 3 from Cleveland, 5 from Cincinnati. We have R5. We have another 5 from the Niners and R6. So let's upgrade players and move through free agency a little, or the preseason a little bit. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be ready to start immediately into this season. I might have time tonight, but I also want to put together a custom playbook, and I'm not entirely sure how long that's going to take. Hopefully, not too long, because all I'm really adding is a few plays where I can take advantage of Lamar as a running quarterback. Okay, we got an improved rookie prompt. Hopefully, it's the defensive tackle. It's Lucier. That's good too. Let's improve his pass blocking because I'm going to develop his run blocking. We're going to improve pass block power. Very good. Very good. I like that a lot. Okay. Let's advance through week 2 of the preseason. All right. Improve rookie. We have a camp standout. Lucier's still getting some help. All right. Let's see where camp standout is. Odafe Elway. We're going to work on his pass rushing. We want to develop him into an outstanding pass rusher. Let's see. Upgrade players. Devin Duvernay. What's his ratings look like? All right. He's a good athlete. Okay route runner. Continue to develop him in the slot. Travis Jones. He's just a depth. He's a run stopper. That's fine. I'm okay with that. He's never. Oh wow, he's got star development. I was just gonna say he's never gonna develop into a starter, but I spoke too soon. He might actually be a low end starter, depending on how long you keep that dev trait. If he's not starting, he might drop it. He's not gonna be starting this year. Okay, this will take us to the last week of the preseason. We'll make our cuts. That'll be nice and easy. I don't have any tough decisions to make. This roster's already been planned out. Continue to work with Lucier. He receives 250 or 2,500 XP. All right, let's cut 15 players. We are good at quarterback. We are good at running back. We're good at fullback. Wide receiver, we got some cuts to make. Bo Melton is going to go to the practice squad. Dennis Houston is going to go to the practice squad. Alex Bachman is going to get cut. Blake Prohl is going to get cut. I probably could have added him to the practice squad, but I want to make sure I've got room for other players. Jalen Moore, cut. I had a lot of receivers on this roster. Aaron Fuller is going to get cut. I'm not going to manually add players to the to my practice squad. A lot of times when I do, they wind up just getting signed by other teams anyway. I don't care. I'm not really going to use the practice squad. So if the computer wants to fill that out, that's fine. There's our 6 receivers: Bateman, Duvernay, Sawyer, Guyton, Wallace, and Nolan Stewart. Tight end, we are good. Left tackle, we are very strong. Left guard, we got the rookie Lucier. Linderbaum at center. Zeitler at right guard, Morgan Moses at right tackle. Left end, we're good. Right end, we're good. Defensive tackle, we're good. Outside linebacker, we're good. Middle linebacker, we got to get rid of Josh Ross. We'll put him on the practice squad. Right outside linebacker, we're good. Corner, we've got way too many. Jalen Armour Davis, practice squad. I like him. Hopefully he doesn't get picked up. Demarion Williams, also to the practice squad. Free safety, strong safety, Ben DeLuca is gone. I don't even want him on the practice squad with his 82 speed. Kicker, Matt Amendola. We don't need him on the practice squad either. And punter, we are good. Okay. That's our roster. Let's go ahead and advance through the final week of the preseason. That'll bring us to week 1 of the regular season. We are going to stop here. We have an 85 overall team, 87 offense, 84 defense. When I return for episode 3, it'll be to start the regular season. Right now, I'm going to go off stream, work on a custom playbook to take advantage of Lamar Jackson's skills and to get ready for this first season of play. All right, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.